Hello.
Hello, everyone.
How y'all doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So, this is To Inclusivity and Beyond. This is Metro Inclusive Health's podcast. I'm Tommy Wright. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I work at Metro. I'm a prevention and sexual health educator. And today we're here to talk about expectations and sex. Sophia, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, hi, everybody. My name is Sophia Salazar. I also work for Metro Inclusive Health. I work for the Prevention and Sexual Health department, and I'm a prevention and sexual health specialist, and I specialize working in the TOPPER program, which is a program specifically for pregnant women. What we do there is we just kind of help them navigate their pregnancies and assist them with whatever they need, whether it be, transportation to get to doctor appointments or Medicaid, counseling services, all that jazz. And we also do monthly lunch and learn topics. And yeah, it's a great program. We just like to work with our moms. So yeah, I'm originally from Sarasota, if you guys care. I got two lovely cats. Yeah. How
Will they
about you,
show up?
Sergio? Probably not.
Oh,
They're like, who are these voices? I don't know.
so yeah, Sergio, can you hear us? Oh.
You might have went out.
So we have a guest, but while he is dealing with some technical difficulties, I think on the Wi-Fi might have had some trouble. We can just talk for a little bit, and then once he comes back in, we'll do some introductions. So today,
That sounds funny.
today we wanted to talk about expectations and sex. What do you expect? What does this mean in your relationships when you're going into and prepping for it? And maybe we'll talk a little bit about some of the conversations that you can have with your partner and what challenges that may bring up. So, to start us off, why are we talking about this? I'll just give my thoughts, and then you can follow along with whatever you have in mind. So I wanted to bring this topic in today because we often go into sex or dating, we go into intimate experiences with expectations. We have an expectation that someone will enjoy it. We have an expectation that someone will be involved. We have an expectation that maybe I expect to orgasm. I expect my partner to orgasm. There's a lot of different thoughts that we have about sex and things that we just know, this should happen. I don't necessarily know why we expect these things to happen, maybe, but yeah. So what are some thoughts that you have upon talking about this?
I totally agree with you because, going into a relationship, mostly like a new relationship, you expect certain things. Whether it be, just having, sex, having intercourse in whatever way that may be. But like you said, I expect to have an orgasm. I expect to give an orgasm. I expect to, get something in return. And we just kind of go like you kind of mentioned, like, why do we think these things? And we can definitely dive deeper into that. But there's definitely something going on, like from like a social aspect as to why we expect so much or maybe not enough.
Yeah.
When we do get into these relationships.
So I just wanted to bring that topic in today. I thought it's a good topic to discuss because we do have a lot of expectations, and sometimes we don't talk about why, where they come from, or what it means about how our relationships happen. So while all our guests is still joining, let's get right into it. So we've done our intros. Let's go ahead and start talking about when you first had experiences, when it was relating to dating or sexual experiences. were there things that you kind of just thought that would happen that either didn't come true, or were there things that you thought would happen, but or maybe you didn't know they would happen, and the expectations led you to believe otherwise? Yeah.
Unpack.
Oh,
Uh,
All right.
Tommy, should I just go ahead and answer that, or should we say it again so Sergio can join in?
Well, let's do intros first. Let's go ahead and go ahead and introduce yourself.
Me. Perfect.
Sorry, we did our intros while you were gone.
My bad, y'all. My name is Sergio Reyes. A little bit about me. I'm 23. I'm a Virgo. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm really goofy right now. I eat a lot of M&M's, so excuse me. Tommy, take the wheel.
Yeah. So we just talked a little bit about what we're discussing today, and I wanted to start off with a question. Sophia had an idea of something that she wanted to pose, but I'll explain the question again, and then we can get into it. So when you first had your experiences dating, or first experiences with maybe sex as well, were there things that you thought would just happen and didn't come true? Dating or sex, whatever. Or were there things that you didn't expect to happen, but it didn't prepare you for that? Yeah.
That's actually a great topic right there. So, when you're talking about sex, obviously you're gonna be, at least for me, it was like, you know what I mean? So before it even happened, I was fantasizing it, being, naturally nervous. You know what I mean? And then when the situation actually presented itself, it was nothing like what I thought it would be. You know what I mean? Like when you with another person, you know what I mean? It's just
Going in and out a little bit. Oh, there we go. All right, Sophia, go ahead.
That's fine, because I was kind of gonna piggyback off of what Sergio was saying, because during my first experience, yes, I was naive, and I've only ever seen online, and I've never experienced it by myself. And I was younger, and all the people, my peers, they were younger, so we all didn't really know anything except for what we've seen on porn. So like Sergio was saying, it was nothing like I expected it to be. I expected it to be this amazing, grand, life-changing, out-of-body experience. Everything was just gonna, be smooth. Okay, there was not that much communication. Let me say that. Things going in places that we both weren't sure that they were supposed to go in. It's just the noises, it's just all an act in porn. And then when you translate that into, real life, it's never, it's not as exaggerated because it's real.
Yeah.
And, going in, I expected all of those things that I just told you about. And none of those things translated exactly like I thought. Was I disappointed? Not, to be honest, yeah, because this sex and losing your virginity is put on such a pedestal, and it's made such a big deal, when in reality your virginity is something that's just made up. If you really think about it, why is that such a big deal? And because of that, we put on all these expectations that it's supposed to be this grand performance, when it's just something that, as you get older, it changes. And, the way that you had sex before is not the same way that you may have it now. And it now is not the same way that you're going to be having sex in the future. And your expectations will always change.
I totally agree with that. I think when I first had my sexual experiences, I feel like I'm lucky to have had it later in life. Like I had it once I came to college, once I'd had some experiences with some other things too. I think maybe my first time kissing was an experience that I had a lot of expectations about, and it didn't. It was very strange for me as well. Um, but yeah, I think Sergio is getting on how sometimes you can be expecting it to be really easy, and then when it comes down to it, you're really nervous, and you got, especially if you're younger, I mean, you got a lot of things happening to your body that you don't really know about. Um, Blood is rushing to places, and you might not be able to think as clearly as you expected. I think that's also something that maybe people don't talk about as much. That it's kind of hard to think about what you want to say. It's kind of hard to think about what you want to do, and we don't really talk about that very much. Hey, you're back. So I think we heard a little bit about what you had said originally, how it can be nerve wracking. It can be like you expect it to be easy, and then you get comes down to it, and you can be really nervous, and you can be really scared about what is actually going down. And I think for me, and another thing that I realized when I first went into these experiences that it's hard to actually talk about it when you're doing it, and you don't know that you're going to have so much trouble speaking when you're first experiencing, I don't know, kissing or sex, whatever. It can be a lot of new things that you're not really sure how to deal with, how to talk about, how to even think sometimes. So let's go ahead and go to another question. So, um, what are some experiences where you've had like miscommunications about something that you wanted to do, and what happened, what resulted?
I guess I can go first. So miscommunications that I've had with a partner in regards to sex, like you mentioned, Tommy, sometimes it is hard to talk about, these things, especially when you're in the act. So some miscommunications that I've had is just that there was no communication, there was nothing
Mhm.
said, there was no boundary set, there was no communication whatsoever about what we expected from one another. And that can definitely lead like in two different ways. Like I just want to chill, and then there's like another person that's like okay, like oh, like this is gonna happen, like we're gonna do something, like this is gonna
Mhm.
get real steamy real quick, and I'm just over here like I'm literally just trying to chill. And then you're put into that really awkward situation in which you don't know that you want to take that step with this particular person. And like I've had like an experience in which like I didn't want to say no because I never got taught how to say no. And I guess like what he expected from me, I was too afraid to let him down. And therefore like I put myself in a situation that I wasn't expecting to be in, but he expected this from me, and that's kind of like the miscommunication that happened. It's an unfortunate situation, but that's why communicating with like whoever you're with, it's so important to see what's gonna actually happen and what
Yeah.
one person wants and what the other wants.
Okay.
I completely agree with that statement. I actually had a relatable situation with my fiance. So she was the only person I've ever been with. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But she was my first time. So you know what I mean? So it's a situation where I was a virgin. You know what I mean? I'll come out and say it. I don't care. You know what I mean? And she had multiple suitors. You know what I mean? And it's typically the other way around. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So
That's what we expect. Yeah, definitely.
it's typically the guy making the first move. But it was different. She came at me. You know what I mean? I was nervous. You know what I mean? I didn't have any experience. So when this lovely, attractive lady comes at me, you know what I mean? She's an experienced, I'll say for this instance, a lioness. You know what I mean? She's coming at me to prey on me. I'm like a gazelle stuck in the headlight. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. What do I do? I wasn't prepared at all. I didn't have a condom. You know what I mean? And then, mind you, I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just trying to get to know her, and
Yeah.
we needed to talk about my status.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? There was a whole nother conversation we had to get to before this lioness could eat me. You know what I mean? So,
So for you, it was like the worry about someone else having more experience than you. Was that something that caused a lot of
it was so
stress?
many it was so many factors going into it. That's
Mhm.
why I was a virgin due to the fact that of my medical issues as
Okay.
well, is that I would literally need to be 100% comfortable with you,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And you can't be naive. You know what I mean? So I had a, and this was all on the first date. You know what I mean? I didn't know this line went in for the kill that fast. You know what I mean? So I was like, this is the get to know you stage, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
So did you over time were you able to sort of develop that conversation? Was that something? How did you go about that then?
So it all started with McDonald's. You know what I mean? Having that conversation on McDonald's. And then naturally, you know what I mean, when you really have that person, you know what I mean, you know when somebody's gonna play a significant role in your life. You just have a feeling,
Yeah.
like it's somewhere deep in your gut. You know what I mean? That you know this person's gonna be there for a long time. And
Okay.
that was the first reaction when we had that first conversation. You know what I mean? So I've naturally had my walls up, and then she was took a sledgehammer to all of them. You know what I mean? She was knocking them down, knocking them down. So then, I mean, naturally, when you start talking about your feelings and getting to know
Mhm.
each other, you're gonna reveal some stuff. You know what I mean? So basically,
Okay.
what happened?
Okay.
Yeah,
So it all started with
yeah. It
got
all
it.
started. You know what I mean? I was being real. You know what I mean? It all started with one Tinder. You know what I mean? I'm a Tinder success story. Okay,
The
I was
rare
being honest.
Tinder success story.
I was being honest. You know what I mean? I didn't know what Tinder was.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So she probably had an idea where she just wanted a one night maybe type of thing. But you know what? With my personality and being what it is, you know what I mean? It stretched. You know what I mean? That one night turned into 5 years.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
You know what I
goodness.
mean? And a
So
baby.
you both went in with different expectations. You wanted something and she wanted something different, and it
She
took you a
wanted
while,
fast
but you got
food.
there.
She wanted some fast food, man.
All
Whew.
right.
Yep.
I guess that's how you know she's a keeper. McDonald's.
She's a zookeeper, I tell you what. You know what I mean?
So are there some things that you've learned that you shouldn't just expect to happen then? For over your experiences, are there some things that you thought should happen and you expected it to happen this way? And then once you've had those conversations, once you've talked with that partner, or maybe been with that partner for a while, or maybe just gotten some experiences for yourself, are there some things that you learned that you shouldn't just expect from sex or relationships?
Exactly. The one thing that you need to basically get out of your head, you know what I mean? Because naturally we're all human, right?
Mhm.
Watch porn. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's not a taboo anymore, you know what I mean? So you can't compare the two. You know what I mean? Watching porn, these are professionals doing the do, you know what I mean? So as a virgin, that's all I had to compare to. So when I met
Yeah.
fantasy, those two, you know what I mean? Fantasy to reality, totally different things, man. You know what I mean? So when you, it's, you know what I mean? People know. People know. They're totally different things.
So it was a lot of you had some ideas through porn, through the things that you saw there, because
I
you
got all
didn't
my
have that personal experience, and so over time you had to sort of get that out of your mind, or how did you go about sort of working through what you could expect and what you shouldn't, I guess.
so naturally, my body, you know what I mean, just adapted in the heat of the moment.
Hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it naturally took its course. Like, you know what I mean? The moment comes and then you just don't even think about it anymore and it's just instantaneous. You know,
Okay.
like you know if this is what you want to do. You know if you're comfortable with this and your bodies just start to talk. You know what I mean? There's body language for a reason.
All right. Sophia, how about you? So what were some things that you learned you should just expect to happen over time with experience or
Yeah, as I've gotten older, I've definitely learned not to really expect anything. The only thing that you should expect prior to, like having sex with, whoever, is to have some sort of conversation. Like Sergio mentioned earlier, was that like we hadn't even talked about my status. Like those are conversations that I think that we should all expect prior to, just having sex with whoever. So that's what I learned,
okay.
because as a younger person, I expected, just that it was going to happen and that we were going to have a good time, and just leave it like that. But now I know that even before that, I should expect myself to have a hard conversation, an awkward one at that, because maybe I don't know this person so well and maybe they feel the same way, just so that no one gets hurt in whatever way that may show up.
Have you developed any like strategies to have those conversations? How do you go about it?
Make it sound natural. It's just like you're talking about some show that you saw on Netflix the other day. Like,
Mhm.
I think, like, there's like that saying, how does it go? It's just like, it's only awkward if you make it awkward.
Okay.
So if you just like, hey, what do you think about, sex? Like, what's your status? Have you ever gotten tested before? Like, when's the last time you got tested? If you just say it so casually, they might be like, like a little like taken back, but then you open that playing field of having those conversations and, developing that trust that you can talk to them about like anything.
Mhm.
Like, oh, like, you know what? Like, I have never gotten tested before.
Mhm.
That's not something I've had told that I need to, or that no one has really expressed a concern. And then, there you go. It's like, well, let me tell you, this is why it's important. Like, I actually got mine done, like, X amount of time ago. And there you go. Like, I mean, those are like a conversation to get the ball rolling. And, if this relationship develops into something maybe like a little bit more long-term or whatever, it definitely opens up the field for you to have more conversations, more fun conversations, such as like, what do you like in the bedroom? Like, what do you want me to do to you to make you feel good? Okay, awesome. This is what I like. Bada bing, bada boom.
That's great.
Okay,
That's
Great
that's what
great.
we
sex
doing
life.
now, Sophia? That's what bada bing, bada boom. Okay.
I
That's
Bada
think,
bing, bada boom. We're gonna do the do.
yeah. I think in my experiences, I've been lucky. I think uh, I I'm gay and I use apps as well, and so I think a lot of the times my experiences have been around using apps, and so nowadays there's a lot of places you can be pretty clear, and I think that's been one of the strategies I've used. You can talk about condoms, you can talk about prep or treatment, or what you're comfortable with, what you do to protect yourself, or you can talk about your status. You can talk about a lot of different things in there, depending on how the app is set up. And so that's been one of the strategies that I can employ, which is just being clear on there. I've only once had an experience where I met someone and started going on a date because we met in person. So I haven't had to have that conversation through that, like in person, I've only been able to have that conversation through app. So I think that's been helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely like a different strategy, of course, depending on your personality and like your comfort level. That's always, another way to do it. Just like, text them. Like there's not that much of a confrontation aspect to when you're texting. I mean, you might also feel a little bit safe in the sense that you don't know how that person is going to react to you asking very personal questions. And I say it in quotation marks because these are conversations that need to happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully sooner rather than later. But yes,
yeah, go ahead, Sergio. Looks like you got something on mind.
Yeah. So just to touch a base on that one. So just I don't know about you, but I'm impatient. You know what I mean? When I want answers, I want answers. You know what I mean? So like that texting thing, it moves so slow. Like it moves slow. Like you don't know, people be busy, you know what I mean? So I want FaceTime call, you know what I mean?
Cool.
And
Okay.
then there we go. We can play 21 questions, you know what I mean? Type deal, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm a police officer, you're my witness. I'm gonna interrogate you, you know what I mean? Like,
So
sorry.
you just go for it. You just give them a call. You just FaceTime them. You just go right for it.
I let it be known. I put it in my bio. I'm like, I prefer phone calls. If you don't like it, swipe left.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm
Not
not
for
with
everybody,
that.
but I appreciate that. I like that directness you
Like,
got.
you know what I mean? I'm more straightforward than, you know what I mean? I'm upfront about it. You know what I mean? If you like it, you don't. You know what I mean? It's whatever. No harm, no foul.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I just like,
Okay.
especially I don't like that. I feel like a sense of connection. It's different. You know what I mean? You can't read a joke via text message. You can't get a sense of their vibe, their energy, what they're bringing to the table via text message. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you know if this is gonna work out, like in the first conversation. You know what I mean? Like you will get a better understanding of them as a person, and then you can answer that question to yourself: Is this for me? You know what I mean? Is
Yeah,
this for me? Is this what Sergio wants?
I can
You know
definitely
what I mean?
understand that because it can be challenging to read what someone's trying to say through text. I think text can be misleading sometimes too. So yeah, I
Exactly.
appreciate that.
That's basically it right there.
Cool. Okay.
Bada bing, bada boom. Let me stop.
So why don't we go into what are some things that you did expect, like going into sex? What are some things that you like something that you had in mind through maybe porn or something that didn't actually happen? What was something that in your past? I think um like we always I think that large genitalia, like big penises, that's something that always happens in porn, but it's not really necessary. Everybody likes different things. I think that there are some things that maybe the media told me when I was younger, like talking about fake orgasms. I don't know if any of you saw that movie Harry Met Sally or the famous scene where um, she's in a restaurant and pretends to like she pretends to orgasm and someone's like, I'll have what she's having. Ever seen that scene, Sergio? You got to look it up. It's pretty recognizable. Like I may not know the movie it's from. I've never seen the movie, but I know the scene. I know that one scene.
Yeah,
But
she's making all these like orgasmic noises when she's
What
eating this
movies
like
are you guys watching?
it's called When Harry Met Sally,
Chinese
and
place.
she's having a conversation and she's trying to prove that like you can fake an orgasm, basically. Yeah.
Yes, and then at the end, like this older woman sitting like, you know, in front of her is like, I'll have what she's having. And it's pretty well known. Like I've seen it multiple times and it's pretty funny every time.
I'm gonna have to watch that movie.
Is it Meg Ryan? I think Meg Ryan does it. But yeah, so what are some things that you've seen in movies or something that you kind of expected to happen that didn't actually happen when you went into it, like relationships or sex, whatever?
Well, I partake in some rom-coms, okay?
Sure,
I like them.
sure.
I love them. You know what I mean? So there's this particular rom-com. It was called The Awkward Moment,
Mhm.
right? So it's with Zac Efron, Michael B. Jordan, Miles Teller. You know what I mean? Awesome set. You know what I mean? You should watch it. You should watch it. Awesome. So it's a situation where Zac Efron, you know what I mean, has sex with this girl, right?
Mhm.
And so basically, he's prior from having sex with the girl, he read in a magazine that like characteristics of a hooker. You know what I mean? So he was caught up in an awkward moment when he had sex with this girl, and so she had.
Oh, we lost him. Oh,
She had what? She had what?
right when he got. Oh no! I'll have to look it up. There you are. You're back.
So he immediately called his best friend and said, "Hey, I think I had sex with Hooker." And then
Okay.
she's like, "Hooker? What do you mean?" He's like, "She has hooker boots. She has a whole bunch of cash, and
Oh!
what do I do?" And he was like, and then he was being dumb. He was like, "Say that you're a hooker too. Maybe your prices will like even out and cancel." You know what I mean? And I was like, "What?" It was
Oh
funny.
my goodness.
You gotta
Oh
watch
my
it.
goodness.
You gotta watch
Okay. What was it called again?
The Awkward Moment.
The Awkward Moment. Okay. I'll take a look. Yeah.
It's honestly, you can't find it on Netflix. You gotta go to like, trust me, it's a really good movie. It's funny.
Okay. So yeah, there's some I think there's in movies they make some things that are just kind of out there and don't actually happen. You know, there's no way that something like that is going to happen. I feel like on an average experience that you have, and sometimes movies like play up these big scenes and they make it super awkward, or they'll
It
make
could
it.
happen though. You
It could
never know.
happen. It could happen. Yeah.
Maybe you're at like the Hard Rock. You know what I mean? And this lovely lady approaches you, and she's probably out of your league. Who knows? You know what I mean? And next, you know, after the deed is done, she gives you a receipt. Like, what the heck? I've got this money.
Well, I don't think I have to worry about that, but
You never know, man. You never know. Anything in life is possible.
I guess that's true.
You
How
know
about you,
what I mean?
That's
Sophia?
100% true.
Yeah.
So things that I expected was like you mentioned, Tommy, is like, you know, this like big, perfect, pink looking penis and like a perfectly, you know, groomed man.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really happen that often in my experiences, at least. And just
Don't
to, you
judge
know,
me.
just be.
Oh,
Tommy's
beard, yeah.
all groomed. I'm not.
No, I'm not.
Tommy's groomed.
I meant further down south.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. That's what we're talking about. So we're
I think
talking about
porn.
beards over here.
I think porn shows a lot of clean-shaven people right nowadays too.
Yeah, 100%. And
No, the bush
you
is
know, I
coming
was
back.
gonna.
The bush is coming back.
Bushes are coming back, especially for the females.
Okay.
Yeah, but as of like, you know, just like I guess mainstream porn, you're just like expected to have like also like from like a female perspective, like, you know, female bodied people,
Mhm.
you're expected to have like these perfect boobs and like this like perfectly shaven
Mhm.
vulva. You're just expected to be like, you know, this perfect person.
Mhm.
And, those like bring like negative implications to, female body people, especially the younger girls that are watching these things. And we just want to replicate that because we want to be like them because we think we're supposed to look like them. That's obviously not true. If anyone's listening, like that is not
Yeah.
true. Like everyone looks different. Vaginas are, very unique. It looks different for everybody. Likewise with penises. Like, I mean, not everyone is going to have this or even likes, this like 12-inch dick that like, okay.
It's okay.
So yeah, it's just so it's just like all these things that you think you're gonna receive, but then you receive a normal person.
Yeah.
That it's unedited, not photoshopped,
Mhm.
completely normal human.
I think it can make your first experiences really stressful too. Whether like you may feel comfortable alone, and then you have all these worries about, am I beautiful enough? Am I thin enough? Am I clean shaven enough? And it can make those experiences really awkward. And then maybe you don't want to talk about like where you want someone to touch you because you're uncomfortable that it's going to highlight some part of your body that's not pretty enough. It can make it more stressful than it needs to be. All these things that we see on TV, all things that we experience before we have, when we make these expectations, they come from like media, whatever, and it can make it really stressful when it gets to your personal experiences.
Yeah, without a doubt. In addition to that, like I feel like you kind of touched on, it just puts on like these expectations. It just puts on these like unrealistic uh, narrative that we should all have to look a certain way. We should all feel a
Mhm.
certain way. That sex is supposed to, last X amount of time. And if it's anything, shorter than that, then like something's wrong with either like one of you.
Yeah.
Also, just a lot of pressure is put on male body people to just have a hard on throughout the whole thing or like every single time. That's just not the reality of it. Our bodies do not work that way. And we should
Mhm.
not expect, much. We should expect people to be normal. We should expect bodies to act like normal bodies. Real life is not edited. It's not paused. We don't have breaks. It happens.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I really appreciate that. Yeah. So we talked about like our um the media, we talked about porn, we talked about movies and things like that. So how about like mentors? Do you think that was there anything that you learned to expect maybe through sex or relationships through mentors, or through people that what they didn't say or what they did say about what you should expect?
I mean, when I was in the Yes program, right, with Bernard and everything,
Hmm.
like teach you about the safe sex and everything, and then obviously the topic comes up, but not into full detail. But like we would have those grown up conversations. You know what I mean? So when I was like 13, 14 years old, I was already like privy to safe sex. You know what I mean? And basically they acted like they were basically one of my first introductions and mentoring me
Cool.
on con
Oh, oh,
and then like sex life in general. You know what I mean? They acted like
cool.
my first mentor on that. So
So you had someone, you had like a program that was able to be there for you. Do you want to explain a little bit more about the Yes program? Hmm? If you're there,
so
going back and forth.
basically it was just like it's really hard to to put it in perspective. You know what I mean?
There's a lot
It's
to
not like
it.
they had a rule or you know what I mean, like teaching you about this. It was just like a genuine conversation. You know what I mean?
Good. Okay.
So yeah, so I'm not really sure how to put that into words,
No, it's okay. So
but
sometimes that's
it was helpful information.
yeah. Sometimes that's how it comes in. It's like you talk with someone who's a mentor, and it's just about having those genuine conversations, and that's where you get um, true knowledge about like what you can expect or what things that might happen in your experiences. That's really good to have those experiences, those mentors. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, I didn't have a similar situation as Sergio. I didn't really have a mentor.
Mhm.
And I wish I did, because I'm sure that I would have, learned some of the things that I know now way earlier in life. And I would have been able to, put that advice or facts into use and maybe not be so insecure as I once was when I was younger. That's why I'm also like pretty open about like talking about, like my experiences and like my knowledge on this topic, because especially for like, younger boys and girls and everything in between, we just have to be able to tell them like, you know what, like this is fake. This is actually what is most likely going to happen, or this is what's you should be kind of expecting, now that we're talking about expectations, and just to keep those expectations.
And
I mean,
just to piggyback off that, right?
Mhm.
How there's always going to be a everlasting cycle. You know what I mean? Knock on wood, of generations. You know what I mean? That that's how if we can get knowledge out there, right? Or have different types of programs
Mhm.
available to the youth, we can really impact and have and actually normalize talking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And having these genuine conversations. And I feel like there's not enough programs because obviously I was fortunate enough to be in one. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? But like Sophia wasn't. You know what I mean? So if we can, you know what I mean, expand our reach for this youth community, we can really make an impact on how the future of sex gets interpreted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know, like food for thought there.
Yeah.
yeah, 100%. Like, you were very lucky that you were able to have that sex education be part of, your education at an earlier point in life. Unlike me, like sex education at my school district, and just from like a nationwide perspective, like, I mean, we live in a very sex negative society, that talking about sex is, so taboo. It's wrong. It's probably, if you talk about it, you're allowing, these young adults you're giving them permission to go and have sex. So let's just not talk about it at all. And obviously that's doesn't work.
It
And
was
without sex education, you're giving, kids and young adults, uh, you're hurting them more than you're helping them.
Yeah.
And you're giving them this like false negative or false narrative that sex is bad and that you shouldn't be
Yeah.
having it and that it's dangerous. But you're doing them a disservice. At the end of the day, you're promoting more of a, I don't know, more of a
Don't talk about it. Don't talk. Let's not talk ever about it. Let's not.
shameful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the word I was looking for. Like, you're promoting shame, and you're promoting them to be secretive about it rather than just be open, and to create that field in order for them to be able to talk about it openly with one another, and even to, parents, which are a large role in, or should be a large role, in my opinion, in educating their kids about sex and safer sex practices.
Yeah.
and another thing because obviously there's when you talked about parents, right? parents have, especially at home, is a source of information.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I had an opportunity, or had the privilege of having a, a beautiful mom, and she was gay. You know? She expanded from an early age, expanded my mind. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So I was well educated on the LGBT community. You know what I mean? So when you're talking about sex, I feel like it should be expanded and normalized in the future sex. You know what I mean? In sex
Yeah,
topics. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
absolutely.
I feel like because there's obviously there's gonna be more than one way you can have sex. You know what I mean? Obviously when you're in that sponge phase where you don't really know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Or were you still trying to figure it out? You would love to know what type of options are out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's important to have that inclusive conversation about like these are some things that happen. Everybody does it differently, you know?
And then have an open mind, of like an open mind community that wouldn't judge you, or you know what I mean, and they can best give you advice
Yeah.
for people that are already in your shoes, that already been through all that, can, you know what I mean, kind of like a big brother or a big sister, you know what I mean, type stuff, that could literally walk you through it.
Yeah, I think that's a really important having mentors, having programs where we bring in people to be parts of mentorship is a really important part of learning about sex. We have a couple programs at Metro that we use. We have a peer support program for those who are living with HIV. We have a popular opinion leaders program. Um, these are some programs that if you want to get involved in, you can just reach out to us at psh at metrotampabay.org. So that's our email. Just plug in there. But we have a few different programs where you can take part in helping those out, learning, whether it be newly diagnosed, learning about their HIV status, or learning about sex. We also have some programs for um, those who want to be more involved in getting the word out about testing or telling their own story. We have something called Role Model Stories where people can provide their story about learning and changing their sex behaviors, talking about like maybe using condoms or something like that. So we have a lot of different programs that we do. They're not necessarily directly that mentorship one-on-one, but we have different things that are similar to that peer communication. Have that peer communication part to it.
And it's important for everybody to know you're not alone. No matter what you're going through, what the
Yeah.
situation is, you know what I mean, sex or just some other stuff in life, you know what I mean? You're
Hmm.
not alone. I guarantee you there's somebody that's going to relate with you. You know what I mean? So if you feel insecure or not comfortable with it, trust me, you're not alone. You're not the only person that feels like that. You know what I mean? Like you could be uncomfortable in sex and somebody else can be comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or
Absolutely.
stuff, give or take a couple of situations. You're not alone. I think it's important to spread that message, and you know what I mean, and just educate people. Education and being open is very important for the future. You know what I mean? Especially my son.
So
You know,
I
you're not
think.
alone.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're
No, you're good. All right. So there's I think this has been a really good conversation. I have a couple other things that I want to just like talk about before we go. But I think it's important to bring it back to how can we how can we have those conversations? It's important to know, as you said, that you're not alone. Um, so talk to people that you want to be with. Talk to your partner. it can be a difficult conversation to have. But if you're like Sergio, you can just go for it. If you're like me, maybe texting is better. And then you gotta go to a call when you're ready. Take your time. But I think having those conversations is really important to set the bar to where it should be, and say like, I want this to happen. I don't want this to happen. And maybe you'll be a little bit less alone. Maybe you'll be able to connect with someone there. I don't know. Any other lingering thoughts about lessons about expectations?
Yeah, like I agree with you, Tommy. I also, in addition to just, opening up this door, I think it could lead to like a wonderful, relationship. It just having this conversation is something that's already very intimate. And as we all know, like, I mean, intimacy takes on many different roles. And and this is an intimate conversation that will create that bond, create a trusting relationship, open communication, which is extremely important in any sort of relationship, whether it's like, a romantic relationship, or whether it's like a friendly relationship or professional, whatever, maybe your parents or whatnot. It's so important. So you don't always just have to talk about, sex and like, safer sex expectations with your romantic partner. You can always talk about it with your friends as well, because what happens when you communicate those thoughts and those expectations with your friends? It tends to spread. You give them this information, rather than accurate information, I hope, rather than misinformation, because then this is how these like fake expectations can happen. They can be hurtful for both parties. And yeah, so my point is, like, having these conversations will open a door to having these wonderful relationships, whatever form those may be.
Okay. I don't know if Sergio's there.
Yeah, he might be frozen.
So I had a little game. Are you down to try and play it and see how we do?
Yeah, that's fun.
Okay. So I wanted to, before we were done, I wanted to do a game called Songs About Sex. So I have a song in mind. I'm gonna hum it, and if you guess it in the chat, you can type it in as quickly as you possibly can, and then we'll try and beat out Sophia. See how if you can guess it, and then you'll try with me. So do you want me to go first? Okay. Let me
Go
pull up
ahead.
the lyrics real quick. I want to make sure I got the. No, I'm gonna hum it, so you need to guess it from the humming. But I'm pulling out the lyrics just so I know how it starts. All right. So, ready? Okay. Mm-hmm. 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 Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
I don't know. I kind of feel
No
like
thoughts?
it's like a Sam Smith song.
Not Sam Smith,
No?
no. I know that you know of one person that is related to this person somehow.
Oh
I
gosh, I'm stumped.
any
I feel
guesses?
like no. Like I feel like I've heard that song, like that little like do
Mhm.
do do do, but I just cannot put.
I can sing the first bits.
Okay, okay.
Climb on board. We'll go slow and high tempo, light and dark. Hold me hard and mellow. I'm seeing the pain, seeing the pleasure. Nobody but you, body but me, body but us, bodies together. Any thoughts? Any
Yeah,
guesses?
I know the song. I don't know the name or the artist.
It is Pillow Talk by Zayn.
Lisa. I was like a big One Direction fan.
I know.
John.
I thought it was a good choice. I thought it was a good idea.
I'm embarrassed.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay, I guess it's my turn then.
Are you ready?
Should have got that. Yes. Let's see if you get this. Okay, mine's faster. No.
No,
No idea.
Ah!
Maybe I'm just a horrible hummer.
Who?
Okay.
Any hints?
She's a lovely rapper. She got a Grammy recently. She's a Black artist.
I don't think I know the song. I don't think I can get it because I don't know.
Okay, it's from Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh, okay. Okay. What
Okay.
song?
Work That.
Work That? No, I don't think I know
Okay,
it. This is my fault.
I always hear you like singing Lizzo at times, so like I kind of assume that like you would know Megan Thee Stallion, and maybe this song would be like on your radar, right? And yeah,
No.
so it goes like, you like it when I work that, twerk that, serve that, and ride it like a rodeo.
Yeah,
You like
I
it
mean,
when I lick that, sit down.
I bet if I knew the song, I bet I would have gotten it immediately. I think that was a good idea, but damn. All right, well, I
We'll be
think
better at it next time.
yeah. Okay, well, I don't know if Sergio's coming back, but before we go, I wanted to talk about a couple things that we got coming up, talk about some of my programs. So coming up, April 10th is National Youth HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. So it's important to, on this date, we want to make sure that people know how youth and young adults are affected by HIV. We want to make sure that people know where to get tested, what to do. And so Metro and Ybor Youth Clinic will be doing an event on the 12th, not actually on the 10th, but it is a Monday. So April 12th, 3 to 7 p.m., we will be doing testing of all types. So we'll be doing it a little bit later than we normally do testing. It'll be pregnancy, STI, HIV testing, so all different types of sexual health testing. There will be gift cards or incentives for those that get tested. So if you want to come out and get tested, we can give you a $10 gift card for just joining. We'll be doing we're calling it Test and Talk, so we'll be doing some games and trivia. We're giving out some gifts, so I hope you can join us then. Sergio, you missed our little game. I'm very sad.
Dang, I don't know why it keeps on booting me off. I wanted to play.
It might be Wi-Fi. Yeah, sometimes it just happens.
Yeah, I was on the road, man. I'm sorry. Like, the data, you know what I mean? Blame Verizon.
Well, is there anything that you would like to talk about? Anything that you have on your mind before we go?
Before we go, let me see.
Any projects or programs you want to highlight or anything like that?
No, everything's all good. Shout out to Metro and shout out to Yes. You know what I mean? These are programs that are literally at your disposal. You know what I mean? Just go ahead and text Metro to 44-321.
Yeah. So if you wanna donate to help keep our virtual programs going, text Metro to 44321. Yeah. I appreciate that. That was a good shout out. That was a good one.
Stop playing with me. You know,
I'm also going to go ahead and like pitch my program, Topwood program. We are having our first Mommy University this coming Tuesday. We're going to have a guest speaker talk about her experience with having a pregnancy while having HIV and the process of how that looked like for her. We're also going to be playing a Jeopardy game. It is also incentivized. It is only for our pregnant moms that are registered in our program. So if anyone here is pregnant or knows somebody that's pregnant that's interested in, just having a supportive group and just to help them in whatever way that we can. And we also give away incentives. And we're giving out like gift cards for free just for spending some time with us and playing a game and just learning. I mean, earn while you learn, right?
Oh,
And yeah, we always love to give freebies to our moms and just send them over our way. We're always welcome them.
Literally, that was actually really good because my fiance, you know what I mean? She literally went through the exact same thing, you know what I mean? With our son. You know what I mean? Thankfully, Yes was there to educate us and properly help us and assist us during that situation. But yeah, if we didn't have them, like we would have been lost and we needed to feel, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Sergio, like you said, you are never alone. There's always people that are going through similar experiences that can, sympathize with you. And we're here. We're here
Can we
for
get a
you.
hashtag on that? You're not alone. You know what I mean? If you're literally tuning into this podcast, go to Metro's Facebook and just hashtag it, man. Let's make this a trend. You're not alone.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
You're not alone. Love it. I got one more thing that I want to talk about before we go, but yeah, so
Can we
Push is
replay
another
the game?
program. What was that?
Can we replay the game? I missed it.
I don't think I could do it today. I'll
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I don't know. Is there another song that I can think off in my mind? Do you want to go? Do you want to try and hum a song and try and
I
see if
got
we can
one. I
guess
was
it?
practicing.
Go ahead.
Literally, I was practicing.
Go
So it's
ahead.
like. No,
Any more?
it's an R. Kelly song. That's the only hit. It's a famous song.
When you say R. Kelly, I just go to Ignition. All right, so I can't think
That
of
was
anything.
right. That was right.
It's Ignition. Which part of Ignition is that?
Wait. Wait. It's the remix of the Ignition. Fresh out the kitchen. Mama rolling. You get it? Like I did
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Okay, good. I
Whatever.
like
I
that
just
one.
want
Yeah,
to have my piece. There we
yeah.
go.
Oh, it's such a fun song.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Tommy?
I was just going to talk about another program, but that is a fun song.
Perfect. What was the program?
So I just wanted to highlight Push. Is another youth related program. So Push is it's a study that we do. We're working with Johns Hopkins. It starts out with just a survey, but those that are eligible are 15 to 24, Black or Latinx. And it starts off with a survey. You might be able to help us recruit, and you might be eligible for a longer term study where we follow you and talk to you about your health goals and things like that. It is a paid study, so if you're interested, reach out. Again, any of these programs, you can reach out to psh@metrotampabay.org, that email. You can give us a call, or you can, I'm going to go ahead and say just psh@metrotampabay.org. That's the best email to get hold of us. If you want to get a hold of Tapwa, is that Tapwa at
PSH.
PSH.
At Metro Tampa Bay. Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining. I appreciate your time, Sergio.
Thank you. I'm sorry if I was limited.
It's okay. It happens. Wi-Fi can be difficult.
But hey,
thank you so much. This was a great conversation.
I'm glad to be a part of it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. All right.
All right. See you around.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.